Hi guys, James at Rampant Lion Reviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to head down to Yorkshire once again. We're going to return to Leeds and we're going to revisit a brewery who are pretty well known throughout England these days. So we're going to return to Northern Monk. We've got another beer from their Patrons project, and this is one that they did in collaboration with Against the Grain Brewery from Louisville over in Kentucky. So this beer is called Double Peanut Butter and Jelly and it comes in at 10% ABV. This one is an Imperial Brown Ale, I guess you would call it, and it is also part, this particular Patrons project one, the number of this is 2.04, and it's also done in collaboration with the Nomad clan. They always like to put different artworks and things on their Patrons project beers, which is quite cool. But I've heard good things about this one, so I'm certainly looking forward to trying it. I've had it sitting for a wee while and I've just haven't got round to actually making the video of it yet, so this one is a little bit late in coming actually, but it should be an interesting beer, and as always I hope you guys enjoy my take on this one. So anyway, as is usual with my reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the breweries involved here. If you want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery websites, the link to my other reviews that I've done from Northern Monk before, and also my other reviews involving Against the Grain. No doubt there will be more from both in the near future. There's all the usual social media. If you want to see more beer reviews, do please consider subscribing to the channel. The whole channel, of course, has a geography-based tagging system, so you can go into the homepage and search for beer based on country, city, state, county, prefecture, whatever it is you're interested in. Do check out the playlists of beers from different countries. There is one there for all the English beers that I've reviewed for you, and another one for all the American beers. This one will appear in both, of course, and as always, please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review. It's always great to hear from you guys that are watching the videos, and the support that you show the channel is hugely appreciated. So anyway, on to the breweries then, on to my brewery notes. So Northern Monk first off then. So as I've told you before, Northern Monk are based in Leeds, and they were founded back in 2013 by Russell Bissett, and he started brewing in his mum's basement and then officially launched the company at the Sparrow Beer Cafe in Bradford. In August of 2014 they moved into the old Flax store in the city of Leeds at Marshall's Mill, and they've been working to expand their brewery and capacity there ever since. So they say that they like to pay homage to the old monastic brewing in England, hence the name Northern Monk. This went on for centuries, but really it's overlooked these days. Of course, when everyone thinks about monastic beer, they do tend to think about the Trappist beers in Belgium and the Netherlands or stuff like this, but monastic brewing was actually quite prominent in England once upon a time. But at the brewery they also have the refectory, which is their bar and restaurant. There's a lot of different taps there with lots of their own different beers, and they currently brew over 20,000 pints of beer per week, which goes all across the world. They've also got their Patrons project, of which this guy is a member, and this is where they team up with other breweries for collaborations, also local restaurants and things like that, and they use local artists to design the labels for this one as well, which is really cool. And usually there's a little bit inside that tells you about the artist and stuff that they've used for the label, which is pretty cool. So I'll show you that in a little minute, but that's all you really need to know about Northern Monk for the moment. These guys produce some really nice beers, so if you haven't tried some of the Northern Monk stuff already, I really recommend that you do. Definitely one of the English craft breweries that you want to check out. So I'll put their website and Facebook page in the description for you below. Make sure you have a look at those if you are interested. So anyway, onto the American side of the brewery then, Against the Grain Brewery. So as I've told you before, I think this is only my second encounter with these guys, but Against the Grain Brewery are based in Louisville in Kentucky in America, and they were founded back in 2011. So the four men behind the company are Sam Cruz, Jerry Gennaghi, Adam Watson and Andrew Ott, and the company started off as a brew pub in Louisville, but their beers proved to be extremely popular, and so they bought a production facility in the Portland district where they now produce the vast majority of their beers. So Jerry was the original head brewer, and he worked at Bluegrass Brewing Company, and then Sam Cruz was a home brewer and apparently used to badger Jerry for ingredients to use in his home brewing before one day asking if he needed help, and that was that. He went on to become the assistant brewer a bit later on, but they were joined by Adam, who filled Sam's previous role of keg cleaner, and then Andrew was apparently a server in the brewery and asked if the three had actually thought about setting up their own brewery, and he said that they needed to look a little bit more at the restaurant side of the business to make it kind of viable, and he had experience and they really liked him, so they actually invited him on board, and then they went forward with their own venture. So apparently Jerry in particular had been thinking about starting his own brewery, and he got a call from someone who asked him to look at a property for a restaurant that had just closed down, and he told the landlord the concept and then put together a business plan for a brewery. The landlord offered them the property, but they actually rejected the space, but this really set the wheels in motion for them actually founding their own company. So in January of 2011 they started looking for places, and then in July they actually purchased their brew pub. So this place used to be called Brownies, but it was a bit of a sinking ship when they went in, and they came in and purchased all of the equipment, and they bought the place on July the 29th and then opened up as their own entity on October the 4th. And over the last few years, they've been continually kind of expanding their capacity at their commercial brewery in the Portland district, and they've become a really quite popular Kentucky brewery. In fact, they're probably one of the most recognisable Kentucky breweries these days, actually. Of course, Kentucky is a state that's known for its for Kentucky bourbon, you know, American whiskey and things like that. But against the grain, their name is becoming more and more known throughout Europe. They've been doing a lot of collaborations with Danish breweries. I think they've been doing some with the Swedish breweries as well, and various other places around Europe. So a brewery that are starting to really kind of try and make a little bit of a stamp in Europe. So interesting times ahead for them. I probably do need to get out to Kentucky. I need to get back out to the States at some point and review a load of different American beers. It's been something like 9 years since I was over in America, so I really do need to nip that in the bud and try and get some more American beers to review on the channel. But Against the Grain are one that I definitely need to look at. If you want to learn a little bit more about that brewery, again, the website and the Facebook page are in the description below for you to have a look at. But let's get on to this actual beer itself. So I'll just let you have a little look at the artwork on this one before we open it up. There you can see, nicely presented, this beer. You can see I do like this one. They did have an original one, which I think was Patron's Project 202, which was just called Peanut Butter and Jelly. That was just a kind of regular brown ale. That one, I think it was like 6.5% or 7%, somewhere around that region. But this one they brought back, and it's a kind of double. I think the other one also involved Against the Grain as well. So yeah, interesting looking beer, this one. I do like the kind of the peanut on the side there, and you can see with the sort of American gangster hat, which is quite funny. But as I was saying, you can open these the label up actually, and it tells you a little bit about the beer itself. If I can get my nail under it to open it, there we go. Yep, so tells you on the side here, the Nomad Clan is a collective of C Blocks and Alo, an internationally acclaimed street art muralist duo based in Manchester. When the pair collaborate, the fusion delivers an unmistakable style. The audience get a glimpse into another dimension shaped entirely by Nomad Clan, the places they visit and the people they meet on their journeys together. Each mural has a strong significance to the environment it suits in, combining playful scenes, often northern heritage, of course, the northern powerhouse and all this kind of thing, with detailed portraits of characters of some of the tales in local watering holes. The main focus of the work is to proudly celebrate the local history, but on a deeper level often contains socio-economic issues affecting the area. For example, the demise of the fishing industry, the closure of mills and lack of jobs, inner city social deprivation, etc, etc. So yeah, this one, as you can see, I'll just let you have a little look at some of their artwork there. If I can open up this label, there you can see, let's check the camera's focusing on that, there you can see the little bit there, and yeah, there you can see the murals. They are actually really quite cool actually. I always like kind of street art like that. It's a lot better than just the kind of bog standard graffiti kind of thing, but nicely presented this, and you can see the can on the back. It just tells you a little bit about the brewer. So it says they've added 9 grains, bringing plenty of biscuit, nut and caramel flavours. They've added some lactose to this one as well. They add Simcoe hops to give you some dark fruits to the beer as well. But yeah, really, it should be a really interesting beer, this one. So without further ado then, let's get it out and we'll get on with the tasting. So yeah, nice little bit of smoke on the opening, and we'll get it out and into the glass. Look at that. There we are. Now, I never actually said, I mean, I absolutely love brown ales. Brown ales were one of the first styles that I guess, unusual styles that I really got into as a beer drinker, and that was with Brooklyn Brown. That was a beer that I really absolutely loved when I first tried it, and it just, you know, that got me into actually trying darker beers. So the brown ale is a style that's definitely got a bit of nostalgia for me, or of course, it was the Rauch beers that really made me love beer, but the brown ales, I guess, was the first kind of craft beer, I guess, that I really went into rather than traditional beer. But as you can see with this one, it's poured a nice dark sort of chestnut, dark mahogany kind of colour. I would say there's a half finger of a frothy, kind of fawny beige head on the top of that. It's fading away just to be a very thin foamy layer. 1 or 2 big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass, and a few little ones just heading up towards the bottom of that head there. But if I hold it up to the light, it does have a little hint of a kind of ruby edge to it, but you know, it looks pretty much as you would expect a brown ale to. I've not had that many imperial brown ales, right enough. One of the best ones actually is Karma Citra from Beer Here in Denmark, so make sure you try that one if this is a style that you enjoy. But yeah, really nice looking beer, this one. So we'll take a closer look at the aroma and just see how we get on. Ooh. That is a really, that's a really interesting smelling beer, that one. I don't think I've ever come across one that is quite like that. There's definitely, you know, you can pick out the sharpness of the fruits right away from the kind of jelly jam sort of thing. You know, the and Americans call it jelly, we would call it jam in Europe normally. But yeah, you can definitely smell a bit of that kind of sharp candied red fruit. It is sort of almost like a candied raspberry that's coming out of this one, I would say. But yeah, you can smell with this one, there's definitely woody, a kind of woody, nutty base to this. There is a sort of almost brown bready quality coming out of this beer as well. It's got, yeah, lots of woody, nutty notes. I think there's a bit of brown sugar in there as well. Yeah, definitely a bit of a kind of brown sugary note. I'm not quite sure if it's caramel, but definitely, there is definitely the biscuit. I see what they're meaning with that. There's definitely a bit of that kind of McVitie's digestive sort of biscuit thing coming out of the aroma of this beer. But it's almost got a little bit of this kind of musky, kind of grainy sort of thing to it. It's almost a little bit woody, to be honest. That's probably a good way to describe it. It does smell as if there's a little touch of like vanilla in there. Particularly, it mixes quite a bit actually with that, you know, candied, that sort of sharpish candied raspberry that I was talking about. But it's a really nice smelling beer, this one. So it's one of the more unusual aromas I've come across, would I say. I mean, if I was to blind smell this beer, if you like, if that actually were a thing, if I was to, you know, just take a sniff of this beer, I would probably guess that it was a sour beer, to be honest with you, because of the way the sharpness of the fruit comes out. My second guess would probably be that it was one of these kind of, you know, mad things that have been done by Omnipollo with the flavour essences and stuff added to it. But yeah, it does smell like a really nice beer, this one. So just take a little bit of time and enjoy the aroma of it before you get stuck in. It is a limited edition beer, so I don't think you'll actually see this one again. But let's have a taste of it then. This one is the double peanut butter and jelly from Northern Monk, brewed in collaboration with Against the Grain as part of the Patrons project with the Nomad Clan, a pair of artists from Manchester. Enough from me, let's have a taste of the beer. Slàinte, skål. Right, I like it, but it's definitely one of the more unusual beers I've come across. I do like it though. When you try this beer for yourself, sugar it around the palate and just let your whole kind of mouth adjust to this one. To me, this beer tastes like a... It's more like a... It's like a kind of random dessert or something like that. It's a really strange one to get my head around. I have to say, I've never actually had a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, you know. I've just never... It's just something that I've never ever thought to put in a sandwich. For me, it's all about cheese, ham, or some kind of pork, you know. That's what my sandwiches always were. Didn't bother with any of the green stuff, of course. That's bad for Scottish people. But yeah, this beer's really unusual. I like how it kind of does its thing. So let's try and think about this and break it down. So malt base first off then. With this one, there is a little bit of an almost kind of grainy brown bready quality. That just blankets the middle of your palate. So it goes right across the kind of centre of your tongue. As the flavour kind of progresses through that, there's a little bit of a sweet biscuit comes out towards the edge of the palate. As you progress further and further into the flavour, there's a bit of woody quality starts to appear just underneath that, right in the centre of your palate, towards the front of your tongue. I think that's where the more kind of nutty flavours are starting to come out of this beer. It's a really interesting one. The kind of feel that this beer has, it really... To me, it kind of comes across almost like an unusual form of custard or something like that. I mean, custard, the flavour is a little bit different, but the way the malt base is coming out for me, the way the peanut butter kind of thing is coming out, for me, it does remind me a little bit of custard. Yeah. I like how everything in this beer kind of comes across. There is a little touch of a kind of brown sugary note to this beer. There is some element of caramel in the middle of the palate, but really the sort of peanut butter flavours that are coming out of this one, I do reckon there's been a bit of flavour essence added to this, because it's quite reminiscent of, it is a little bit reminiscent of Omnipollo. I mean, I'm not sure. I mean, they said they added 9 grains to it. Unless you're adding a little bit of some kind of nuts and things to the brew, I'm not sure how it would kind of come across. There's definitely an element of vanilla coming out of this beer as well, but I do wonder if there's a little bit of flavour essence added to the beer, because it does remind me quite a bit of some of these Omnipollo beers. But yeah, I do like how it kind of comes across this one. The sort of fruity characters that are coming out of this one, I think it's got a little bit of raspberry sharpness to it, to be honest with you. The fruity qualities of this beer, they are coming out a little bit around the edge of the tongue, so I do wonder if they've added some sort of fruit to the brew in this as well, because that's always the way to tell in terms of fruit flavours coming from the hops versus the fruit actually being added to the brew. If the fruit comes out on the edge of your tongue, then it's been added to the brew. If it comes out behind the front kind of curve of your palate, then it's taken from the hops. But I do wonder if there is a little bit of I think there has been a little bit of fruit added to this brew, but they were saying they used Simcoe hops in this one, and when you mix it with kind of nice dark malts, I think there is maybe a little touch of chocolate or something in this beer as well, to be honest with you. But when you mix it with the right malts, it does start to give you these dark fruit kind of berry flavours. It is quite fun with this one, because it is unusual to just try and think what they've done in the brew. But yeah, in fairness actually, now that I kind of focus on it a little bit more, I think what I've maybe just said about fruit being added to the brew might be a load of rubbish. We'll need to take another sip. But then around on the back corners of the palate, there's a little touch of earthiness in there, but the hoppy quality to this beer is really, really smooth, and it just comes across along the front of your palate. But let's take a little quick look at the Brewers Notes again and just see what they said about this one. So yeah, they've said that they've used pardon me, 9 grains in this one. They've added lactose to it, which makes sense because of how smooth it is as well. And yeah, no, it just says they've added Simcoe hop, or they've doubled up strawberry and raspberry additions, so yeah, that would definitely make sense. So yeah, I was picking that up. I didn't realise that I was right the first time. So yeah, definitely for me, I think it leans more towards the raspberry side of things. But that's just my palate kind of picking it up, and it's maybe, you know, a lot of Scottish desserts have raspberries in them, so maybe I'm a little bit more kind of sensitive to raspberry notes. But yeah, you can definitely pick out that raspberry kind of candied. It's almost like a candied fruit flavour as well. So yeah, behind the front curve of the palate, that's where you get that little oily bubble, and you can definitely feel the sort of berryish fruits coming out of this one. It's not kind of blueberry, it's almost a little bit like a kind of blackberry note, and there is, to be honest, a little bit of that tart raspberry note that I was talking about is in the centre behind the front curve of your tongue there, which is interesting. But you can definitely feel the sort of juicy, I think pardon me, I think the strawberry flavours are coming out a little bit more around the kind of edge of your tongue, so maybe that's a fair way to describe it. But I was kind of pleased with myself that I picked that up. But then when I thought about it a little bit more, maybe it's the placebo effect. You know, I was thinking the earthiness was just really smooth and spreading forward on this one. But there's a lot going on in this beer, and it's certainly one that's going to make you think a little bit. I like how they've done this. I like beers like this that do make you think about it a little bit, because that's why I enjoy doing the beers. I do like things that you have to taste a little bit and think about. So for me, this is a really interesting beer. The brown ale is a style that I really like, so I have to just say a thumbs up to both the breweries involved in this. They've done a nice job of this beer. In terms of the mouthfeel then, mid-bodied, carbonation is very smooth in this one. It leans towards the oily side of things in terms of its mouthfeel. Like I said, the hops are very smooth. The malt base is interesting because it has a bit of that smoothness kind of underneath it. There's a little bit of that kind of there's a little bit of the kind of sweetness from the malt in there. There's a little touch of graininess to it as well, but overall I say the malt is smooth, the malt base is smooth, but leaning towards the sweet side of things. Hops, as I said, are very smooth. There's a good bit of juicy fruity character to this one, both from the hops, and there's a wee touch of tartness in there from the raspberries as well. You can pick that up. Overall, a really, really interesting beer, and I'm certainly glad that I was able to review this one for you. I need to try and get back to reviewing a few more brown ales. It's a style that you don't find all that much of anymore, but it's one that I really really do enjoy. So let's leave it at that for this one. So this one was the double peanut butter and jelly from Northern Monk Patrons Project number 2004, brewed in collaboration with Against the Grain from Louisville in Kentucky, and it's also a collaboration with the Nomad Clan for the artwork as well. So a really interesting beer, this one. I really enjoyed reviewing this for you, and I hope you guys have enjoyed my take on it. Until the next time, it's Slangy just now. Make sure you check out my social media. Once again, thank you for watching my beer reviews. Let me know your own thoughts on this one in the comments section below, and let me know what your favourite beers are from Northern Monk Against the Grain, and give me your beer recommendations and stuff like this. Do let me know some other brown ales that I should have a look at as well, because as I say, that's a style I really want to kind of bring back into the channel after a wee while. But thanks again for watching, and I will catch you guys very soon. Slangy just now.